really matters and makes this a good matchup for Casey Pordes is the card Tarmogoyf. You see that with the Temur Twin in a lot of these matchups. The fact that they get to run Tarmogoyf gives them so much mileage. It'll be no different here as we start playing, you know, positional blue Snapcaster mirrors. We have a lot of them in Modern. The cards, the splashes, you know, your Goyfs, your Tastigers in Modern, they are the cards that break these open.
I'm curious to see if Casey has Shaheen on Esper, or if he's been around Shaheen enough in the top tables.
If you put him on Esper, like, the issue I'd have is, what does that even look like in Modern? There isn't an Esper deck.
Yeah, I have no clue.
I mean, I would still put him on it, but then I'd just be like, I don't know, I'd probably break out a score pad, start writing down cards I thought maybe Shaheen would play. Be like, probably Lingering Souls, let's start there.
I know he's played Detention Sphere before. He's actually played just blue-white Control in Modern too, but he's blue-red Delver here this weekend. You see Pordes is going to resolve a Serum Visions, falls down to 17 from searching up a Breeding Pool with the Misty Rainforest. Shaheen now with a Delver of Secrets. One thing to note here for Joe Lissette, clinching this top 8, he passed Jonathan Morawski as the point champions for Season 4, and I believe he's clinched it for good. So congratulations to him on a very important weekend for him. You know, last weekend in Denver, it was unclear if Joe Lissette was going to be able to make the Players' Championship, but now he's good. As you see, this Gataxian Probe, a Deceiver Exarch, looks like a Cryptic Command, a Forest in the grip. Now a Serum Visions here for Shaheen.
Yeah, so for the record, Jonathan Morawski still will be joining us next week, just as one of the at-large bids and not the points champion. You know, these Snapcaster mirrors are just among the biggest skill testers in Modern. We saw one yesterday between Jeff Hoagland and Matt Costa, and one of the things you can say about it is, boy, it really shows off your play skill.
And those two cards are going to go to the bottom there for Shaheen. Land number 2, you have to imagine it's on the way. It's going to be an island. And now here's another Serum Vision. So draw a card. Take a look at the top 2. Those two go to the bottom very quickly as well. Now we're going to go back over to Casey Pordes. Splinter Twin the draw. He'll play a Forest. He'll pass the turn back over to Shaheen. Snapcaster Mage in hand for Shaheen. Mana Leak as well. Does he have red mana? The answer is yes. It's a copy of Steam Vents. Pordes is going to draw a card. Pordes does have Deceiver Exarch. Let's make it 2 of them, but he's not willing to cast one just yet.
So because Temur Twin is the deck with the larger creatures, Casey can go for the control roll a little easier. If they just trade land drops, that's going to favor Casey. Shaheen, his cards gain power by being very mana efficient and by getting good early pressure. But getting something like Delver later on in the game is going to be outclassed by the Crassus and Tarmogoyf from Pordes' deck.
So Delver Secrets in a mountain there for Shaheen. For Casey, a Scalding Tarn is what he'll sacrifice. See what land he does want to dig out of his deck. Vents does come down. It's going to enter the battlefield tapped. Might be thinking Deceiver Exarch now since he's got a backup copy.
You'll remember, this is game 1, so Casey actually will have the twin combo in. Post-board, I don't expect that we'll be seeing that anymore.
Let's see if Shaheen has any interest in letting this resolve. Again, he does have Mana Leak, also has Remand in his hand too.
Right, and you see Casey does actually have the Splinter Twin in his hand, so he could go for the combo, but that interacts poorly with just about every card in Shaheen's hand. You know, see Mana Leaks, Remands, all sorts of things that get in the way of that.
Oh, Casey drew a Remand of his own here. Here's Deceiver Exarch. That's going to be on the main phase, so it can slide through a counter spell. Smart play, I think.
Yeah, I do like that. He untaps the land, so he goes ahead and gets that Remand.
Remand is the reveal here for Shaheen. Delver going to flip into Insectile Aberration. Now he's got a clock going.
Game 1, Shaheen does actually get some advantage by the fact that he has... all his cards are playing Fair Magic. And the thing about Twin Mirrors is that Twin Mirrors are all about Fair Magic. He's not drawing clunky things like Splinter Twins. You see the 1-mana investment on Delver. Went ahead and flipped, and now he has a 3/2 flyer. That's good.
We're going to head back over to Pordes. He's going to play a Cryptic Command. This is going to be a Remand. That'll go back to Casey's hand. Shaheen gets to draw a card.
Well, I like that Casey used this to just kind of go after Shaheen's mana. He may be able to thread the needle and get Splinter Twin onto this Exarch if he has enough mana.
It's worth a shot.
He didn't actually lose the Cryptic over that.
Here's Electrolyze. Remand again. Remand back.
I mean, Casey, let's put the situation he just put himself in. If Casey had drawn land 6 there, Casey would have won that turn. It's interesting. He remanded the remand, I believe. The other play you can actually make there in Casey's spot, and I think he didn't do it for life total reasons, he can actually remand his own Electrolyze in that situation, and then he'll be much farther ahead in the card advantage game. But I think at 10, he determined that life points were more important to than cards, at least right there. But eventually the Delver was taken down by Electrolyze. So Shaheen managed through the 1 Delver to get Casey down to 10. So he got halfway there. He's going to have to restock, though, and get a new threat.
Here's Snapcaster Mage. And this is the main phase, so they can hard cast the Serum Visions. Spell Snare the draw here for Shaheen.
Does have to watch out. As we know, there's a Splinter Twin still in Casey's hand. There are a lot of cards that Shaheen has that interact with it. But if Shaheen taps too low on his own turn, he does risk being comboed. And this is land 6 from Casey, so if he has another remand, he may go for the kill.
Yeah, counter, or excuse me, play Splinter Twin, counter your counter, and then go infinite.
It's the reason lots of times in these decks we see cards like Thought Scour in addition to Serum Visions, so that when you need to Snapcaster for a card advantage spell, you can do it on end step.
Well, there's Splinter Twin. He drew a Spell Snare for the turn. Here's an attempt to remand. There's a Spell Snare, and that is going to do it. Casey Pordes is going to win. Get #1 here over Shaheen Soorani. Tamer Twin.
Wow.
Very quickly up a game here over Blue-Red Delver. Big draw there for Casey.
Yeah, Spell Snare clutch on his side. On Shaheen's side, there was some danger. I think if Shaheen leaves all his mana up, I don't know if Casey goes for it. At the same time, Shaheen may not have a choice if he actually doesn't have the spell that interacts.
Yeah, you know, Shaheen doesn't really have a lot going on, so you saw him play a Snapcaster Mage, into a Serum Visions because he just needed some help, needed some assistance, and as a result, he's shuffling up for game #2. So, to the sideboards, we're going to go here for both players. You're going to find a Logic Knot, 3 Threads of Disloyalty, 2 Dispel, a Spell Snare, Blood Moon, a Vandal Blast, 2 Shatterstorms, 3 Rending Volleys, and a Magma Spray. He's got some hate against Twin here.
Yeah, so he has Rending Volleys, which I imagine would be against Twin. But one of the interesting parts here is that, you know, I just don't expect Tamer Twin to keep the combo in. So sure, Rending Volley kills Snapcasters, kills Exarchs, and does kill Bonding Crasses. So it's good. I don't know if it's great. The cards I do like is I'm a big fan of these 3 copies of Threads of Disloyalty in Shaheen's sideboard. I would love to snag a Tarmogoyf with Threads in his matchup, so I imagine he'll bring those in. Logic Knot, Dispel, these are also pretty reasonable cards, so a lot of options for Soorani.
Other side of things here for Casey Pordes, 2 Pyroclasm, 2 Hunt Master of the Fells, 2 Ancient Grudge, and a lot of singletons in Spellskite. Thragtusk, Is It Staticaster, Dispel, Unravel the Aether, Negate Ghost Quarter, Thrun the Last Troll, and a Roast.
All right, well, there's some question as to exactly what deck Shaheen's playing. He did see a Delver of Secrets, so he can assume a lot of things. The first thing he can assume is that if there's Young Pyromancer, you certainly want Is It Staticaster. The 2 copies of Pyroclasm, also very good here. Chief Sweepers that will be one-sided in this matchup. I think he also wants the Dispel. There are just a ton of instants on each side here. At the same time, I'd even be okay with something like Hunt Master of the Fells. Interested to see if Casey goes toward it.
Well, those are the options there for both players. Shaheen will be on the play. And with a win here, he'll be making the top 8 of another Invitational, and he'll be joining potentially a lot of players for the Players' Championship. Now, we've got a lot of tickets punched to this bad boy. You see all the faces in the crowd with 1 left to go. That's the champion of this tournament. So, Jacob Wilson, Jim Davis, Logan Mize, Tom Ross, Ali Antrazi, Kevin Jones, Alex Pistecki, Danny Jessup, Hunter Nance, Rudy Briska, Jonathan Morowski, Ross Merriam, Joe Lissette, who looks to be our Season 4 points champion, given his top 8 this weekend. Todd Anderson and that defending champion, Brad Nelson. Again, 1 more to figure out. Whoever does win here in Las Vegas tomorrow during elimination rounds will be going to Roanoke, Virginia, December 19th and the 20th, to be one of 16 competitors battling it out for $50,000 at our Players' Championship.
Yeah, it should be an exciting one here. That champion will be there. Now, remember, in the case that someone like Joe Lissette wins, then we've been talking about it a lot, then we could see Caleb Scherr or Eric Hawkins in the spot as well.
Now for Shaheen, his resume, it's a pretty nice one, honestly. A lot of invitational top 8s for him, 5 of them to be exact, for the 32-year-old from Norfolk, Virginia. 7 Open Series top 8s with 1 win. He is a public high school teacher.
Yes, he rolled a natural 20 in Constitution. Come on, come on, come on. We can't go there.
I have no words.
Can't go there.
I have absolutely 0 words. He's never had a sunburn, has 0 allergies, and is immune to poison ivy.
Yeah. You rolled his character sheet. He just hit it out of the park on the con stat.
All right, fair enough. He'd be good at Oregon Trail, I guess. Sports car enthusiast and owner of a 2004 SVT Cobra. We should change that to Esper enthusiast.
Yeah.
Okay? If we just want our fact sheets to be correct here, since it's the only deck he ever plays in any format, though he is spicing it up here this weekend with Blue Red Delver. For what it's worth, Shaheen's standard record, if memory serves, was 7-0-1 with Esper.
Wow. Well, why doesn't he just play Esper?
Exactly.
He should just do that.
Exactly. All of his losses have come in Modern.
Well, yeah. I mean,
You go against what gets you here, and now you might pick up 4 losses with this deck.
we've seen that actually a lot of players. Shaheen Soorani and Jeff Hoagland, both 7-0-1 in standard for Hoagland. Kind of a similar story, actually. 3 and 4 in Modern ended up dashing his hopes of the top 8 here.
Yeah. Jeff's black-white control deck looked pretty gosh darn good in standard.
It may have been the deck of the weekend in standard. I mean, he beat he's the Rajaya's only loss in the tournament at 14-1. You know, he went toe-to-toe with Soorani. These players, I imagine, are happy to see that deck not in the top 8.
Well, these players are going to take a look at their opening hands here and get ready to rock and roll. Casey Pordes did win game number 1 here over Shaheen Soorani. Teamer twin Blue Red Delver. In our backup match, it looks to be Todd Anderson versus Justin Rios. Whoever wins that match is going to make top 8. For Todd, he's got the best breakers at 4 losses. He's playing Infect in Modern, and his opponent, Justin Rios, is playing Tron. Todd's got to be real happy with that pairing. Just saying.
I mean, we did see it yesterday. It was not close.
No, it's not. As a Tron aficionado, I've beaten Infect a time or 2. I can count it on my hands. It's not a lot.
Now, Todd does have to watch out. Even with the win here, there's a chance that Daniel Ward, our green-white hexproof player, could leapfrog him for that last spot.
All right.
But I'd say, Todd, looking at the numbers, I think with the win, he can sneak in on at 8th place.
Both these players taking a look at the openers. Pordes does mulligan. Scribe top to the bottom. We're going to go start things off with Shaheen. It's the Steam Vents for Casey. It's a breeding pool. Scalding Tarn, going to bring Shaheen down to 19, maybe a little bit lower in a second. We'll find out.
Yeah, so last game, we saw a Delver of Seekers from Shaheen, and actually did a great job of dealing damage, put Casey all the way down to 10. The issue was that by the time Shaheen got it on the board and flipped, it was turn 5. And by that point, Casey actually was able to profitably fight kind of a removal, an instant speed, a counterspell war over the Delver. If Shaheen can get one early and get it flipped, it's good for a lot of damage, and suddenly Shaheen's cards like Mana Leak become much more punishing.
Serum Visions. Now my question, given that Casey is playing Teamer Twin and not just Blue-Red Twin splashing green for Ancient Grudge, is does Shaheen know that? Does he know that Casey has access to Tarmogoyf, Bounding Crassus, and some other green cards? There's a Misty Rainforest. Because if Casey were to play a Tarmogoyf this turn, for example, he could really take Shaheen off guard. And there's a basic island. Not even searching up red mana just yet.
You see Shaheen, yeah, Pyromancer, but a lot of hate cards, Dispel and Rending Volley. Ready for the matchup.
There is Tarmogoyf. Shaheen's definitely ready for the twin aspects of things.
Yeah, and then but Tarmogoyf is probably on both sides the most important card in this match.
Shaheen going to take a bunch of damage here from the Steam Vents. He's going to fall down to, I believe, 16.
Well, I mean, he'd hope that he has threads for it, and I don't think he does just yet.
That's a Snapcaster Mage. Flashback Serum Visions. Time to scry here. Shaheen should be at 16, not 19.
Only lands in the graveyard reduces Tarmogoyf down to a Squire. We get that brief moment where a Lightning Bolt could kill it. I don't imagine it'll stay that way.
Snapcaster Mage can beat it in a fight. Well, Lightning Bolt was a draw for Casey, so ignore me. Beatdowns. Shaheen, no blocks. Casey gonna sacrifice.
And maybe he just doesn't have anything. You could block, they'll trade. What could go wrong?
He's fresh out. Well, Shaheen did block. I guess this is good so much in the fact that like Lightning Bolt's just going upstairs and your Snapcaster Mage has already done its thing by letting you recast Serum Visions.
I'm really surprised to see Shaheen block there. I mean, there's just, well, I suppose. I mean, the nightmare would be, you know, that Casey thought scours or something really silly.
Yeah, if it's just Bolt go upstairs, it's not the end of the world in my opinion.
It means it's a Bolt that's not going at the Delver or the Young Pyromancer in your hand. That's fine.
Yeah, this is at least okay.
But you see now just how Tarmogoyf is so good in this matchup. Shaheen can't remove it. It's difficult for him to keep creatures on the board to block it. It does a great job of defending against Shaheen's attackers too. And so we're back to work Tarmogoyf now having Shaheen all the way down to 9.
I think Pyromancer's going to come across here for 2. Shaheen's got to find a way to start cranking out tokens. His hand's super reactive right now. Like, if Casey doesn't cast a spell, it's going to be hard to win.
That's exactly what I was going to say. He needs Casey to cooperate. Look at his, you know, okay, we have Rending Volley, we have Mana Leak. I think we have a second Mana Leak. We have a Dispel. Okay, Young Pyromancer is all set up and ready to go. Now he just needs Casey to do something. But if we don't, I mean...
He hasn't done anything yet.
Yeah, it's actually very difficult for Shaheen to play here. His cards are just uncastable without targets.
Now, the one thing I think Shaheen has in his hand is a copy of Snapcaster Mage. That's really about it. Casey gonna draw.
Yeah, okay, they just trade. You mean what? If Shaheen wants to make tokens, we're starting to talk about things like mana leaking a Snapcaster. Like he can't play his cards. See, Shaheen's down to 6. He's just gonna get killed by a 3/4 Tarmogoyf.
Here's a Delver. Maybe that'll force some action.
Maybe he's very far behind in the race, so maybe it doesn't. I mean, okay, the theory is that Casey would cast a kill spell and then Shaheen can start doing all sorts of things. That's what he'd like to have happen. But I think Casey's heads up here. What Casey actually can do is take his next turn, attack with Tarmogoyf.
Snapcaster or Lightning Bolt, something like that.
Sure.
Looks like he's going to cast Snapcaster now.
And if you just cast it, if this resolves, what if you're in Casey's spot and you just don't flash back a spell? You know, just, all right, well, here's a 2/1 hit you.
I'd be shocked. Here's a Mana Leak. Elemental token on the way.
You know, I think there was an argument there for Casey to just do nothing. But here we are. Mana Leak will give him a 1/1.
There's Remand.
He's remanding his Snapcaster Mage.
Dispel's going to take care of that. That's also going to trigger Young Pyromancer. And now some blockers are finally here.
Nice mix of Chris Van Meters and Dylan Donagans.
Nope. Over to Casey Pordes will go now. Here comes Tarmogoyf. Can't block fast enough. Elemental down. Thrag Tusk.
And this board plan out of Teamer Twin, that card is so hard for Delver to deal with.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, what do you want to do? You want to bounce it? You want to just block? Oh, goodness.
I mean, think of the Thragtusk Delver days. It lines up just like that previous standard format. Thragtusk was really tough.
No kidding. So Casey up to a healthy 19, a 4/5 power attacker. I was wondering whether Casey would go toward Huntmaster of the Fells. I hadn't considered he'd go all the way up to Thragtusk.
Well, Thragtusk and Tarmogoyf for coming in. I can approve of this attack. The thing about Shaheen's deck is it doesn't just have that combo finish that Casey's has. You can play a normal game, can Casey, and then combo you out. Shaheen just only gets to play a normal game.
You know, and you see this when people get too fancy with these tempo decks, you know, like Delver. We even see this in Legacy sometimes. You have all these great soft permission, little card advantage things. Sometimes they're just ill-equipped to deal with a 5-drop.
Again, Shaheen's hand is very, very reactive at this stage. Rending Volley, and a bunch of other stuff.
The Goyf is a 3/4. Everybody in front of it. We have creature, instant, sorcery, land in the graveyard right now. So, or no, sorry, no sorcery.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about that one getting added at instant speed.
Unless Thought Scour shows up. So all the creatures will die. Thragtusk's going to bring Shaheen down to 1.
It's a tough spot for Soorani.
Gataxian Probe is going to have to be hard cast. There's the grip. Looks like a Misty Rainforest. I think another Tarmogoyf, perhaps?
Yep, and a Remand.
Yeah.
I like the discipline on Casey's side. He could have played a Tarmogoyf that turn, but didn't want to give Shaheen access to more elemental tokens.
Yeah, I think that's smart. Here comes Young Pyromancer.
And, you know, this would be a route that Shaheen could take to victory. I think were Casey not at 19 when that turn started, the life gain off Thragtusk made this far more difficult.
Gitaxian Probe. Get a good look at Shaheen's hand now. Assuming this resolves.
Well, Shaheen has a lot of action. He has some Spell Snares, Mana Leak, Dispel, Rending Volleys. He's flush on cards. They're just all very conditional.
A lot of snares, Dispel to Rending Volleys, Mana Leak. He might be able to chump out enough here.
And look at this. This shows, I think, kind of a philosophy in this matchup. Shaheen has 6 cards in his hand. That's great. And if he's viewing this about card advantage, you know, he's boarded correctly. The issue is not on this war wasn't fought on a card advantage war. Shaheen won the card advantage war. The issue is that it was power. I mean, Casey just played a Thragtusk, which none of these interact with.
Draw a card with Probe. Tarmogoyf.
2 more Tarmogoyfs, sure.
Can't chump block that Thragtusk fast enough. But again, Shaheen has 2 copies of Spell Snare and 2 Mana Leaks. There's a Misty Rainforest just past the turn back. Shaheen will draw, picked up a Mountain.
Shaheen has 6 cards in hand, and he can't cast any of them without Casey's help.
And if I'm Casey, I'm not helping.
And we have, oh my, we have quite the result on the other side. So Todd Anderson, you'd mentioned playing a win-in for Top 8 Invitational, playing Infect against Tron, will not be present on Sunday, was taken down in the match.
I am blown away. I am blown away. Thragtusk gonna come here, take down another token. Shaheen might be on blocking duty with the Young Pyromancer now. He did not want to come to this. That's a heck of an upset in that other match. Back over to Pordes, we're gonna go. He'll draw a copy of Snapcaster Mage. Young Pyromancer down. Casey's play here is phenomenal. Just don't do anything.
Yep. Shaheen, is it 8? 8 cards in hand, none of them castable?
Yep. Just not going to do a single thing. And I wouldn't do a single thing either.
Yeah, and we'll wait on the result of this match. There's a chance with Shaheen dead here, he may offer Casey a draw, and Casey may want to accept it. And that depends on, a draw gets Casey into top 8, and because of what matchup he might want to play against in top 8, he may accept it. So I don't know the exact result. What I do know is it means Casey Pordes is in the top 8, and Shaheen Soorani is not.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a win here for Casey. It's going to bring him up to 13-3. So congratulations to him winning this match against one of the SCG Tour's best in Shaheen Soorani.